Are you having trouble dealing with toxic coworkers? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you some really good, simple strategies. They're going to help you keep you strong so that you can manage those toxic coworkers and not be impacted by them. And stay tuned to the end of this video because I have something really special for you that's also going to help you stay strong when it comes to doing your work. Hi, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Adriana Girdler, and in this YouTube channel, you're going to learn the best career and project management advice. Please consider subscribing to our channel because it really helps us grow this awesome community. So on that note, if you're ready to learn about how to deal with toxic coworkers, please like this video and let's get to it. The art of avoidance. More often than not, people feel that when they come across a toxic coworker that they have to listen to what the toxic coworker says. Let me reassure you, you don't. You need to set limits, you need to have boundaries, because that's only going to put the toxic coworker in place knowing that they can't necessarily go to you and dump, which is really important. Now, how do you set some limits? Well, if you have a door to your office, close it, put one of these on there, power hour. No, let me show you the red because this is what you want. Please, in essence, you're saying, please don't interrupt me. That becomes really important. If you're in the hallway going to the meeting and they find you and they're like, hey, Adriana, hold on a second. You can say, oh, Jane, love to talk to you, but unfortunately I'm running late for a meeting. Connect with me later. That's a nice way to kind of quickly brush them off without slowing down in order to catch up with them. And then the other aspect as well is you could even say, if they're starting to talk and you don't have a good excuse out, is like, Jane, you know what? Thanks, but I kind of have to go to my office right now. I have a meeting, an upcoming meeting I have to prep for. I'm happy to chat with you later on, and then you can kind of walk away from that. Now that's an interesting one because Jane may need to find someone else to be toxic with, so they may not come back to you later on. And if they do, it's the end of the day, which you can then probably use another excuse to say, I have to go because I have to either A, pick up my kids, B, gotta go home and make dinner, or C, I have something else that I have to attend to. So again, really set the limits with these toxic individuals because they will drain you if you don't. Be aware of when to share personal information, especially with a toxic coworker. Okay, sharing personal information is like handing a grenade to a toxic coworker that they're going to throw back at you at their strategic point in time. So really be careful with this. I'm not saying you can't be friends. I'm not saying you can't share stuff with individuals. But unfortunately, when you have toxic coworkers, you really have to be careful and navigate the landmine because that's exactly what it is when it comes to these individuals. So when toxic individuals or coworkers come up to you and they ask you, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? You don't look so good. They're trying to bring you in the fold in order to get some personal information from you. Don't fall into that trap. Try to be, I'm not saying don't answer them or ignore them, but you can say, hey, you know what? Thanks so much. I am having a hard day. I appreciate you noticing it, and end it. Or you can say, yeah, I had a great weekend. Spend some time with my family. Keep it very high level. Don't get into detail because I'd like to say every individual has your back, but that's not the case. And you really should have a circle of trust of very few people where you really open yourself and make yourself vulnerable to when it comes to work. Because there are toxic individuals who politically scheme, who will stab your back, create issues for you, not because of you, but because they have issues. And unfortunately, that's the reality of life. Not everybody is kind and caring and looking out for the common good of everyone. I wish that were true. So that being said, I'm not saying you can't do that stuff and be kind and caring and have a positive attitude, but I also want you to be smart and think about it like, hey, I do have to be strategic with who I speak to, who I don't speak to. So just be aware of that and understand that you don't want to really give all your personal information to everyone because you don't know when that may come back and haunt you depending on the intent of the person that you gave it to. So a little bit of a reality when it comes to the business world. Have a conversation. Now this one is going to probably be the hardest one to do when it comes to dealing with a toxic coworker. Why? Because you're literally calling them out on it. So you've done your avoidance, right? The art of avoidance. You've done all that strategy work. You've kept your personal information to yourself, which I think is fantastic. But there's still around you, that toxicity is still happening. You're going to have to deal with it. So one of the things I recommend is, depending on how bad or how toxic the person is, and again, you're going to have to kind of gauge that yourself based on experience and sort of what you know and you've heard through the grapevine in the organization, is you may want to tell your direct manager that you're having these issues and that you're going to be speaking to the person one-on-one. So again, you're kind of giving yourself a trail of conversation so that other key individuals know that if that toxic person said, hey, so-and-so spoke to me, it's not going to come back to bite you because you've already informed someone. And you want to actually have a conversation with them. You want to set up a time saying, hey, Jane, can I spend some time with you? I just need to talk to you about something that's really important to me. And then you can sit down with them and explain what exactly is going on, whether that is the political aspect of it, them constantly being negative, not trying to find solutions and stuff. Again, as I said, this is the hardest thing to do. But if you want to stop toxic coworkers dealing with you, then you need to really have a conversation with them. That conversation, yeah, think about it, strategize with it, with your circle of trust of individuals. Maybe role play a little bit with how you're going to do it. Really think about, what am I going to say and what's the outcome of what I am going to say? What am I looking to have happen? Because again, you may want to be selective with what you call out. So again, I wish I had really concrete, clear things from you, but it's really going to be dependent on every situation and scenario. But again, that's usually the last resort. I'm hoping that the other two techniques are going to be fine and you can ignore and avoid. But if you can't and it's hounding you, then you're going to need to bring some reinforcement and you're going to have to deal with it. Avoid complaining. Okay, this is the last but not least. Really try hard to avoid complaining about the toxic person, because this advice I'm giving to you is not about the toxic person, it's about you. It's about the energy that you bring to the table. Because what happens when we complain, right? We get really negative ourselves, our stress levels may increase, we're really focused on what is not going well. Versus if we take a step back, we look at the situation for what it is. Toxic people tend to have their own issues, by the way. I always have a lot of compassion for toxic people, because if they're so toxic, then they probably have a lot of stuff that they themselves have to work through. I would never tell them that, but I have compassion for it. So I do look at it differently. So I'm not angry at them, but if you start down the road of complaining about a toxic coworker, you're just gonna fall into that negative trap yourself. So just be aware of that. Try not to complain, try to look at it from a different angle, try to have some compassion and realize, wow, that person must have a lot going on or has dealt with a lot in their past that they still haven't really dealt with. So this is an interesting perspective, but one that is going to help you look at it in a different light that's only going to be positive for you. Now that you know how to deal with a toxic coworker, I said I had something special for you, and I do. And that is, you probably deal with a lot of activities, and I want you to be successful with them. And those activities usually have a start and an end, and we usually call that project. Now, you may not think of it as a project. You can call them initiatives or just what I said, activities. That's okay. All this stuff applies. And you know what's really cool? It's free for you. So take the opportunity, download it under this YouTube video. There's a link there. I promise you, it's only gonna help. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, as it tells YouTube that this is good content and you're liking it, and we're just gonna get out to a larger community, and I really appreciate it. It helps us grow this awesome community. So on that note, if you have any comments for me, do you have any other techniques, how you would deal with a toxic coworker? I would love to hear from you. Put it in the comments below. Until next time, see you later.